Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So in my other videos, I got questions and comments about how did I get my damage on my mechs and STs to be so high. So I thought I would cover it in this video. Fundamentally, there's I think roughly 5 different ways to maximize your damage output, and I'm just going to kind of cover all of them. Okay? So a whole bunch of them are linked to your mech. Okay? First, of course, it's improving your mech by enhancing it and improving its quality. These improvements will increase its firepower stat, which is the ST's base damage dealing performance. So every single enhancement you make, like me select the mech I can actually enhance, you can see that the firepower will improve whenever I enhance this mech. Other than that, if you do the quality upgrades, that will also improve the firepower stat of the mech. So that's why you kind of need to maximize that firepower stat. The second method is, of course, the connectors. You can mount connectors that provide certain improvements. A lot of improvements are focused on improving and increasing your damage output. So, for example, I keep mentioning it, but in the trade section, under shops and module trading company, there are 6 modules that you can kind of purchase for credits every week. I strongly recommend buying the ones that are focused on specific weapons because that's what will maximize your damage. You can, of course, choose to use the ones from the workshop where you can produce modules by breaking apart mech parts. But again, the A rank ones, it's only a chance of it triggering. And you would need 4 of the exact same module. So if I wanted to give Frida a 70% chance to improve damage by 15%, I would break up 4 parts to get 4 pressurizers and equip those pressurizers onto Frida. Okay. That is definitely a temporary measure you can do. Like, of note, you can see that I can break up heavy mech parts, I believe. Right? I can break up the metal mare parts rather than breaking up, let's say, medium mech or light mech components. So there are ways that you can kind of balance this out. The reason I say I can break up heavy mechs is because I don't use my heavy mechs. I've mentioned it repeatedly. My mech building is focused on light mechs and some mediums. So breaking up these heavy components for these modules may be worth considering. But given it's only a 70% trigger chance, you may also choose that maybe you think it's not worth it as well. So that's kind of like the first method. Modules and mech part upgrades. The second method is linked to the weapons section. So first of all, pretty much all backpacks will provide some kind of damage improvement. I mean, most of them do. In fact, and the higher the quality, the higher that damage improvement. Here's what I mean. Let's look at power banks. This is a B rank power bank. It provides, of course, power, but also damage dealt plus 2%. The A rank power bank provides a damage dealt increase of 3% and more power. And then the S rank power bank provides even more power increase as well as damage dealt plus 5%. So 2, 3, and then 5. A steady kind of improvement as you upgrade the quality. There are also ones like the jammer armor that I keep promoting, right? Reducing enemy damage by 50%, which is huge for weapons that fire multiple times. Okay. Absolutely massive for these kind of weapons. Although it's not that great for any weapon that hits a single time for high damage. So backpack and weapons is like the second way. So getting backpacks is mostly linked to doing the border conflict. Right? As you clear the border conflicts, you get backpacks. So the first province gives you 2, second province gives you another 2, third province will also give you 2 more. So that's 6 backpacks that you can get per week. And if you get these backpacks, you can start merging them in backpack crafting. Like, I can, for example, craft an accelerator if I merge 5 of these A rank ones and I get an S rank one. if you can merge, let's say, 4 B rank ones to get a random A rank backpack, and so on and so forth. And next, weapons. So weapons in this game are kind of different from most games that I played, in that the weapons you get, their levels are fixed. And depending on the weapon level and quality, the damage output is different. Right? For example, this level 36 weapon has 39 damage times 12. The level 41 version of it actually has 49 plus 12. Right? 49 times 12, and so on and so forth. So the higher the level and quality, the more damage your weapon does. Okay. In addition to just these, every weapon can be modified. Okay. And in the modification, there's 2 mods you can make. The first mod is like a flat damage increase, and then the advanced modification provides a random stat increase that you can reroll. Okay. Early game, I would say you don't want to reroll that much because your credits, you're going to only use the weapons temporarily, number 1. And number 2, you don't really want to waste the credits too heavily on this. At most, you would kind of reroll the modification a few times until you get a very, very good attack value. I would definitely not lock certain values to reroll them, because you can see the reroll cost gets significantly more expensive once you start locking. So you might choose to you will need to maximize these upgrades towards end game, but definitely not in early game, is what I'm saying. Okay. Now, as for how you get these weapons, as well as unlock better modules, or sorry, better modifications, let's talk about that. So the weapons, they come from expansion op under clearance ops. Okay. The level is defined by, I guess, the clearance op level that you have. Like, for example, clearance op level 1, the bosses only drop very low level weapons from around level, to around level up to around level 16. The second boss, the weapons dropped are up to around level 25 or so, right? And you can just see it keep improving. By level 6, the weapons that are being dropped are around level 46 to 48, roughly. So you're going to want to unlock and clear these battles as quickly as you can, and get the battles to as low turns as you can, because the lower the turns, the less energy that is going to be used. Right? Your first clear is going to cost like 50 energy, let's say. And then if you have it down to like 5 turns, it goes down to 20. Right? Basically, the clears of these fights is based on how many turns you take to win. At 15 turns, it's 50 energy. At 12 turns, 41. At 5 turns, 20. So effectively, you can say it's every turn less costs 3 less energy. And that is why if you can get a battle down to 1 turn, it only uses 8 energy, for the record. So that's how you get better weapons, right? And how you actually get better modifications is through arena. As you clear the arena, these modifications and improvements to the modifications are unlocked. So you can see, like, for example, if I go all the way to the bottom, let's say, you can only have improvement plan number 1. Right? At rank 2, you have improvement plan 2, and so on and so forth. Rank 3, improvement plan 3. Right? And you unlock the advanced improvements as you go up. Okay. So the advanced plans come with each major rank increase. You see. So advanced plans 1 comes from Arena 3. Advanced plans 2 comes from Arena 5. And then this is where I'm at, Arena 6, where I have minor improvements, version 6, and I'm desperately trying to unlock the next tier so that I will have the advanced plan version 3. Right? And then if I clear these, that will maximize it in terms of the advanced plans. Okay. Okay, so that's about maximizing your weapon output. So, we've talked about weapons, backpacks, and mechs. Let's now talk about the pilots and how they affect your damage. So, pilots themselves have 4 stats that are linked to damage output: melee, assault, range, and tactical. Okay. Each one will affect different weapons. So you can see Frida, my Frida's assault stat is near 2200. And so that means she's amazing with shotguns, machine guns, and heavy machine guns. And she sucks with all the other weapons, because those stats are below 1000. So you should not equip melee weapons, you should not equip light rifles and sniper rifles, you should definitely not equip tactical weapons on her. Okay. So Hong, by comparison, melee stat is extremely high. Assault stat and tactical are useless, and then range stat is okay-ish, but not great. Right? It's definitely still half of melee. So you should really have melee weapons on Hong. And those are just knuckles, pile bunkers, pole arms, small shields, and large shields. Given most of her skills are based on pile bunkers or knuckles, it kind of narrows what weapons she should be using down to just those 2. And so on and so forth, right? Every pilot has those skills. It determines which weapons they should really be focusing on using. In addition to that, it's worth mentioning that the Bionic Computer, a lot of the unlocks that you do will improve certain stats. And it's usually their primary stat. So you can see that there's like power up to increase her assault stats here. I also have a defense increasing stat that I haven't chosen to activate yet because I don't have the resources. So for every one of my characters, I basically have their damage output unlocked. And I may or may not have the defense ones unlocked yet. So yeah, going up these Bionic Computers is crucial as a result, because a lot of those improvements will affect their damage. Those improvements, the materials for them, they come from, again, expansion ops and elite battles. That's where you farm these materials that are used for Bionic Computer activations. Now, it's worth mentioning here as well is one of the main reasons you keep focusing on clearing content is because of the drops that these battles do. For example, Chapter 6 will give you materials from the version 5, version 6, and version 7. Okay. Chapter 4 will give you the materials for version 6, 5, and 4, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay. So 4, 5, 6, and 5, 6, 7, and so on. The key thing though is the lowest level one, you get 8 of that material. The second lowest, you get 4. And then the highest, you only get 2. So what I'm saying is, effectively, not only are you unlocking a new material, you're getting double the amount of material as in the previous version of that map. So the quicker you can clear your elite battles, the better. At the end of the day, it is a lot of demand on your energy, right? You definitely want to max out your daily sweeps of Frontier Trial. Right? You probably want to max out your sweeps for weapons. And then you still need materials for sweeping elite battles. And of course, there's also the simulated battles for the algorithms, which I haven't mentioned yet. Okay. So algorithms can often give you stat increases, like range plus 45 and so on. So depending on the ones that you get there, you may very well be able to further increase your pilot's damage output. So if I go into my pilot, Neuro Drive, right, you can pick what items you equip here. So the ideal ones, in my opinion, tends to be directly that stat, like assault plus 38 or whatever, or maybe the ability to increase your hit rate for that stat. You can generally click on the icons. Yeah, that's one useful element of this part. the icons show you which primary stat each of these chips are focused on. So if it's like a knife, it's a melee one, right? If it's like 2 arrows pointing down, it's assault. If it's a target, it's ranged. And then if it's like this icon, which looks kind of like an arrow landing on a target, that would be the tactical weapons, the long range, extremely long range ones, like Naomi. There are also ones for mechanics, as I recall, and I believe it's like a cross icon, intended for healing, right? And then the blue icons, it's the it's the light, medium, and heavy mechs. So fairly easy to identify which chips are linked to which particular stat. The only issue here is you still need to carefully go over each one individually to find the ones that actually improve a stat versus the ones that are providing hit increases or crit chance increases. And also keep in mind, a lot of them often come with an extra effect that only applies to certain mechs. Like this one, for example, extra effect, assault weapon will grant assault plus 31. So even though this is a ranged one, that secondary effect of assault plus 31 may make it worth equipping instead on an assault character, like Frida, right? In fact, having just looked at it, I might switch those two. Because this ranged hit is kind of useless to Hong, but it is crucial to hold on, let me just go back. I'm mixing it up. Where is it? Did I just lose my mind? Hold on. I could have sworn I saw something that was improving assault stat. Oh, it's this one. Whoops. Okay. So yeah. So given that improves assault stat entirely, I may choose to equip that onto Frida instead, and then find another item to equip here that does use 2 CP. So maybe I'll equip like a useless one that will provide the benefit, like so. Okay, there we go. Sorry for that. But yeah, with that adjustment, you can see my assault stat just improved to 2230. So yeah, tinkering around with the neural drive, finding the ones that improve your specific stat instead of improving just the hit chance can increase your damage further. Alright. I will say sometimes making these videos allows me to improve my mechs. Okay. So yeah, I think that covers kind of pretty much every way you can improve it. We talked about the mechs, we talked about modules, we talked about weapons, we talked about pilots, we talked about both the Bionic Computer and the neural drive. Right, there's one more thing, or two more things that maybe. Okay. The final things I'll mention is this. First, of course, leveling up your characters. Every time they level up, all their stats improve. Okay. That's why you level them up. So if I'm just trying to see who I actually want to level up. But yeah, let's say I want to level up Dana. If I raise her level by 1, you can see every stat just increased. Okay. Every stat just increased, and it was pretty significant too. Other than the level up, skills. There are you can only bring 3 skills with you to battle, which is unfortunate because there are often a lot of passives that are quite good. Like for example, if you're attacking a part with full hit point, she's gonna do plus 50% damage. A lot of characters have passives that will improve your damage output. based on certain conditions. The only drawback of them is you can only bring 3 skills. So whether you choose to bring that passive can be a difficult decision, especially when most of the active skills will increase damage anyways, as well as having secondary effects. Like here's the example, will I choose to bring Invasion that does 1.2 times damage with 10% hit chance increase, or do I choose to just bring the passive that will increase your damage by 15% as long as your hit rate is above 80%. A lot of tough decisions here in terms of what skills you bring, especially as you unlock more of them in the Bionic Computer. And the absolute last method of improving damage is actually your character's rank. So it's linked to the rank, it's basically their suitability. S rank characters have an ultimate suitability. It starts at ultimate 1, giving you excuse me. Sorry about that. So ultimate 1 provides 123% of ST performance in battle. Your increasing performance can also boost suitability. So if you have the second one unlocked, 123 increases to 129. If you have the third one unlocked, further increases to 135, which is the absolute maximum. Excuse me. So that was S rank characters. A rank characters, their suitability is actually lower. It's mastery level. Mastery, let me just select one that has no mastery yet. Mastery 1 is just 112% performance increase. As their potential increases, that gets better. So 112 reaches 115, reaches 119, reaches 123. Right? So they max out at 123 performance. And 123 performance, as you may recall, is the equivalent of an Ultimate 1, an S rank character that's starting with no potential. As for B rank characters, why they're really not used, it's because skilled maxes out at 112. So basically, a maximum B rank character has the same output as an A rank character with no potential upgrades. And then the maximum A rank character has the performance of an S rank character with no upgrades. So yeah, that's also why most B rank characters get phased out and you end up mostly using S rank characters and maybe some A ranks. Alright, so with that last point, I'm pretty sure I covered everything. All the ways you can improve your damage output. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this video useful to you. And on that note, Nitro out.